Hey everyone, Brett Shoemaker here with Keller Williams Realty here in Houston, Texas, out of the Keller Williams Signature Market Center. And I'm really excited to be here today. I've got two lovely ladies with Johnson Development that have taken their time today to really educate the buyer. This video today is really to educate the buyer, specifically that is looking to purchase a new home from particularly probably a builder in a development, or maybe an existing development that is has a lot of builders in a recently developed area. Maybe there's still new construction going on. Maybe you're buying a resale, but specifically we're going to be talking about new construction today. So Tammy McCall has been with Johnson Development for a little bit, and I'm going to let her talk about kind of her background and what she does. And Carrie Railing here is also with Johnson Development. So I'm going to let them take just a few minutes here and talk about what they do specifically with Johnson Development, and then we're going to get into some questions to kind of educate home buyers out there that are looking to buy a house in a Johnson Development. So Tammy?
All right. Thank you, Brett. So Tammy McCall with Johnson Development. My position is Realtor Relations Extraordinaire. And so what I do is I work with realtors in getting them into our communities. I have 10 of the 14 Johnson Development communities across the Houston area. So we absolutely feel that it is crucial or very important that a client or a prospective buyer works with a realtor for various reasons. But before we get into that, I'll let Carrie introduce herself.
Hi, thank you, Tammy. My name is Carrie Railing, and I am the marketing director for Cross Creek Ranch with Johnson Development. I have been with Cross Creek for just a few short months, but been in the real estate industry for close to 20 years. And absolutely agree with Tammy. It is very important to have a realtor on your side of the transaction.
Yeah, 20 years. I didn't think she was, she must have started in high school. Yeah. So guys, the first question that I'm going to be directing towards Tammy today, because she deals obviously with realtors all over Houston, and that's actually, we met at one of our trainings that we do at Keller Williams. But the question I have, Tammy, is do you feel that it is in the buyer's best interest when they're dealing with new construction with a builder to have a realtor, and if so, why?
Okay, absolutely. Yes, I do believe that it is very important, and I think probably the number one reason is just because realtors are able to do their research and have numbers and information about the community, know what the amenities are, know what the resale value is, know what the fees are, what all is involved. And I think a lot of times builders, as wonderful as they are, and they are very important to our communities, that their interests are more in the floor plan, in the product, whereas a realtor can look at the whole development overall and be able to share information that is pertinent to them actually having a lifestyle in the community.
Absolutely. A realtor knows all of the communities in detail, and once they get to know you, they can know what community is going to work best for you and your family, and then the resale value at the end whenever you do choose to move on to a new community.
Great point, great point. So one of the things that I run into a lot of times is, customers or, potential buyers that are out there, when they're coming into a development or a particular builder, sometimes they don't even really understand the relation, or that there's a difference. Sometimes there's builders that maybe develop their own communities. Sometimes, there's just different relationships that are different with builders and communities wherever you go, right? And so when they go in there, they just kind of, follow the process. And one of the things that I've seen, a couple things, and you guys may or may not be able to relate to this, but what I've seen in the past is some clients will go in and they'll just fall in love immediately, right? Which is great, and everybody likes a quick transaction, find something they fall in love with. But it really is good to, like these ladies are saying, do your homework, see the other builders, because what happens typically is once that, buying is an emotional type of situation, and once they're kind of gone through that process, and then they're in their new home, maybe they're in the community that they love because of the amenity centers and things of that nature, but then they start looking around, right? They kind of do it in reverse. And having a realtor is going to give them the ability to not only do that, but also be there fighting with them every step of the way. And there's a couple examples that I can think of, one specifically that I just recently came into, but do you guys have any examples or anything that you could share of maybe where any specific situations or difficulties that buyers can have? Maybe it probably never happened at Johnson Development, right? But you guys maybe want to share something or an example potentially?
Absolutely. I think for me specifically, as I have been at Cross Creek Ranch as an example since January of 2010. And during that time, I've been in several different positions. But one of the things that I have noticed that really, drives it home for me is the people that will buy homes in here and go through a builder and then come to the Welcome Center after they bought a home and they had no idea what all we had to offer as a community. And that always surprised me, and we still go through it today with our Welcome Center manager here, that she'll have people come in after they bought their product, after they bought their home, and they bought because they love the home, they love the builder, but they didn't know that we have these amazing walking trails. They didn't know we had the 3 pools, the 2 schools, the tennis courts, the basketball courts. They had no idea what all was available or how to even get their amenity card to go over to this 6,000 square foot building where we have an amazing fitness center.
Yes.
So that's what I've seen.
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of piggyback on what you were saying earlier, there are so many communities in the greater Houston area, and a realtor knows, those, your general area, and, there may be, some builders that have developed a community, there may be a Johnson development, and that realtor will really help you to determine which one is the better fit for you.
Yes, and the other thing that I'll just throw out there as we're talking about this, during the buying process, especially for those of you that are buying for the first time, or even if you've bought 2 or 3 homes, you don't do this on a daily basis, like on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And so when you have a realtor there, they're fighting for you, okay? Not just on the home selection side, but once your home's selected, once you have your money down, upgrades, what have you, not that there's, unethical builders or there's a bunch of builders that are all just trying to get into your pocketbooks by any means. But, it's always nice to have somebody to say, hey, look, this is what the builder told me. Is this normal protocol?
Exactly.
Is this something that's acceptable? Is this price something that's consistent with what the market really, is asking right now at the current moment? And so I've seen that happen. I've seen situations. I just had a client recently that started a building process with the builder. They weren't able to complete the financing with their preferred lender or through their financing company. They directed this client to an outside lender that they had a relationship with. They created a closing date and a quote-unquote pre-approval. And frankly, the client didn't even really have a pre-approval, because when the closing date came to be, a couple days before, that client actually called the financing company. The finance company said, we're not ready to close. And because there was no communication, because the builder, and it's not a bad builder, it's actually a very well-known builder, I won't mention their name, but they were so busy, and that particular sales consultant, which also varies from development to development, they were so busy or just didn't follow through, and the communication wasn't there. Whereas if that client would have been represented by a realtor, that realtor would have made sure that things were moving through the process if they were a good realtor. So maybe you guys can elaborate even more on some of the things that can happen through that process. But that was a difficult situation, and fortunately, I was able to help this particular client locate financing, get financing, and we're actually about to close here in the next couple days. So it ended up being good.
There's a lot of different steps in building a home, and a realtor can really help to be that liaison to help you educate throughout the process. Exactly what you said, answer any questions on your behalf, and they have the knowledge to get you through that process probably a little bit easier.
Yes.
So.
At least now when you're just going blind and hoping that the builder's telling you everything right.
Right, exactly. I know, I agree. I'll just, back up her, but that's exactly the truth. It's unfortunate because a lot of times, those people that I was talking about that would come in, some of them would have realtors.
Yes.
But they didn't have a clue. So a key point is not only to have a realtor, but to have a good realtor. To have somebody who will do the research. So you have to do your homework too and be selected. It's an interview process. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, hopefully all of you that are out there watching, whether you're a realtor that wants to use this video to educate your future or potential clients on why they need to be represented with a realtor. This is not just a video for Brett Shoemaker or Keller Williams or Tammy McCall or Carrie Railing. We want to really educate all the buyers out there, especially with new construction, as to why it's important to hire a realtor to represent you through the home buying process. So, ladies, I appreciate you guys taking your time today. Carrie came all the way in from Sugar Land. We're in full shirt right on the outskirts of Richmond and Katy in Cross Creek Ranch. And Tammy, she's all over Houston as usual, but I appreciate you taking your time as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Well, everybody out there, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.